our trip to Africa and visited his home country in Kenya.
I know that my approval ratings are still very high in the country of my birth.
Who's his real family?
Well, we're not ready for that discussion.
Okay.
Whoever faked this was either the most foolish editor ever and mistakenly allowed access to the layers, or they were a pure genius and they were trying to expose Obama, and, well, here it is. I mean, anyone can go download this and check it for themselves. Everything checks out. It's clearly a fake.
Passengers on board the Makanikai flight that wouldn't stay airborne much longer. That's Health Director Loretta Fuddy in the second row wearing the floral top. Ferdinand Puentes shooting the takeoff with his GoPro when something goes wrong.
Like a pop bang, and it just went silent, and you would hear the alarm in the pilot's cabin just started going off. And then I looked outside in the window and I seen that the ocean was just coming pretty fast. Just hit, and that split second, first thing I did was look for my life vest, and so I was there just fumbling, trying to get it open, and it happened so fast. Just as soon as he opened the door, water just rushed and filled our feet up to our ankles. As I entered the water, and the wing was right there, I figured everyone was rushing in as fast as I did. So I just kept on going up to the end of the wing and make sure that there was room for the other passenger.
That's a selfie of Puentes holding on, and then that eerie sight underwater of legs kicking as other passengers also hold on, and some still putting their life vest on.
So you gotta put it on first before you put it.
That appears to be Loretta Fuddy in this photo, holding on to the inside part of the wing.
Everybody okay?
And the pilot, bloody in the water, but still very much in control, telling them to stay away from the plane, so they let go and drift as a group.
It was cold for that day. It was pretty cold and pretty rough. You could actually feel the energy swell just going through your body.
And later, the plane swallowed up by the ocean. And still, Puentes continues to let the GoPro roll.
I kept it going because I thought, I figured if we're not going to make it, I have something that could find it and identify us.
And then help.
Seen the first plane just popped out of the air, and with that plane that flew over us, it gave me hope. It's like someone's there. Actually realize that someone's there that can call help.
With that hope, Puentes and several others start swimming. The Kalaupapa shoreline in sight, the swells getting bigger. Puentes was plucked out of the ocean by a county helicopter just 50 yards from shore.
Came down and a rescue swimmer held out his hand, and by that time I was totally exhausted, mentally and physically. I was beat, and I didn't have the energy to pretty much extend my hand, but as he got a hold of me.
A flurry of activity on shore, and while everyone made it out of the plane, Loretta Fuddy, shown in this last photograph taken on Kalaupapa, died. Her cause of death still under investigation. As Puentes walks the shoreline and looks out into the ocean today, he admits it's a life-changing experience, one that is fresh on his mind.
Beginning, I was like depressed or whatnot, especially at where the Miss didn't survive. I was at that funeral, and it just that feeling I had while I was there, it'll live with me.
Dr. Chiome Fakino is the former director of the Hawaii Department of Health and a devoted Republican. Until now, she had not talked on camera about this topic.
As a Republican member of the last Republican governor of Hawaii, Linda Lingle's cabinet, do you have any doubt that Barack Obama was born in the United States?
Absolutely not. I have no doubt.
She found the original Obama birth certificate stored in a vault in the Department of Health building.
And what did it tell you? Was it authentic? Was he born here in the state of Hawaii?
It was absolutely authentic. He was absolutely born here in the state of Hawaii.
Barack Obama not only has the same proof of birth as millions of other Hawaiians, He also has the current Hawaii governor's memories of him as a baby.
You saw him when he was an infant.
Oh, sure, of course.
Some people said, he has a forged birth certificate. Well, first of all, it's true, I'm not American. I was not born in Hawaii. I wasn't born in the United States of America. I come from Kenya. If that wasn't true, then somebody named Barack Hussein Obama from Kenya, from Africa, would not be elected president of the United States.
When we took our trip to Africa and visited his home country in Kenya, I
happen to know that my approval ratings are still very high in the country of my birth.
Who is his real family?
Well, we're not ready for that discussion.
Okay.
So we have 2011 Fuddy procuring, I'll say this, falsified, forged birth certificate. In 2012, she's providing verifications. She's sitting there probably hoping against all hope that nobody gets to look at the merits of this case, because she would probably be brought in front of the court.
Loretta Fuddy. That's right. The same Loretta Fuddy, the Hawaii State Health Director who approved the release of Obama's long-form birth certificate and who recently and mysteriously died in a plane crash off the coast of Molokai.
Finally, the Maui police issued a statement about what was the ultimate cause of death. And they said that Loretta Fuddy died as a result of cardiac arrhythmia due to stress, induced by stress, and they deemed this incident to be an accident. Well, her brother, Louis Fuddy, immediately said to the press she had no history of health problems. She was healthy, and she had no history of heart problems. There's actually the footage of the plane crash. And what you see is everybody on that plane was calm. Nobody was panicking. Nobody was screaming. Nobody was trampling on one another. And then while they're in the water, everybody is calm. And why shouldn't they be calm? Because there's a plane hovering up ahead, basically reassuring them that they're about to be rescued. So why would Loretta Fuddy, who has nerves of steel generally, suffer such a massive panic attack or an irregular heartbeat, whatever you want to call it, because she's freaking out that she's about to die when it's clear she's about to be rescued?
His legal name in Indonesia is Barry Soetoro, as shown on this document, recorded at the school he attended. It would have been unlawful in Indonesia to record any but his full legal name on this document. So as far as we know, to this day, in Indonesia, Barry Soetoro remains his legal name. Barry, or Barack Hussein if you will, attended a Catholic school in Indonesia, which was required by law to instruct him in the religion of Islam.
As a boy, I spent several years in Indonesia and heard the call of the azan at the break of dawn.
An exceptional orator, promise for the disillusioned, and change from the status quo. These are all what helped Barack Obama to become president 2 years ago. But now the reality seems to be something far from that. And what is being called a bombshell, investigative journalist Wayne Madsen has revealed in a report that in 1983, President Obama worked for the Business International Corporation, which was a CIA front. The company used to conduct seminars with the world's most powerful leaders as agents abroad with CIA espionage activities. Madsen says this intelligence connection runs in Obama's family. Obama's maternal grandmother, Madeline Dunham, was one of the first female vice presidents of the Bank of Hawaii in Honolulu. The report says this bank was also a CIA front for funneling money to oppressive dictators and rulers, such as former Indonesian President Suharto, who came into power through a CIA-backed coup. In the 1960s, Obama's father had been selected by the leader of Kenyan African National Union, Tom Mboya. CIA files indicate that Mboya was an important agent of influence for the agency. The airlift was a CIA operation to train future agents of influence in Africa, which was a battleground between the U.S., the Soviet Union, and China for influence. As a Kenyan student in the University of Hawaii, Obama's father, who was already married and had a child with another on the way in Kenya, met Obama's mother, Ann Dunham, in a Russian class in Hawaii. This meeting eventually led to their marriage. Barack Obama's mother, Dunham, was divorced when his son was 4. She married Lolo Soetoro after meeting him at the East-West Center at the University of Hawaii, the center affiliated with CIA activities in the Asia-Pacific region. She worked for Tim Geithner's father, Peter, at the Ford Foundation, widely believed to be a CIA front.
I'm on the whitehouse.gov. This is a government website. This is the official whitehouse.gov. Today, if you didn't know, Barack Obama released his alleged birth certificate. This is the URL. I'm going to zoom in just in case any of you want to go there. It's http://www.whitehouse.gov/blog/2011/04/27/long-form-birth-certificate. On this page, you can see the birth certificate. And the interesting thing about this is they left it in PDF format. Let's click the link. Still on whitehouse.gov, might I add. This is the birth certificate in PDF form. Now, the interesting thing about, I'm just going to go ahead and download this to my computer real quick. Save PDF to download folder. There it is. The interesting thing about PDF files, if you didn't know, is that PDFs are ran through Adobe Acrobat Reader, which is, of course, by Adobe. Let me open this up so you can see. Here is the birth certificate. Now, if you didn't know this, Adobe makes a series of software, including Adobe Illustrator. Illustrator and After Effects are linked through Adobe's Adobe Bridge, is what they call it. Basically, Adobe Illustrator lets you kind of create and edit photos, similar to how Photoshop would. Now, if you save an image that you've created or edited or modified or enhanced in Adobe Illustrator as just an image file, it'll delete all traces of what you've edited in Illustrator. It'll only show the final result, kind of like how this looks. I can't see where people have edited, I just see an image. However, if you export it to Adobe Acrobat Reader, which is a PDF file format, and this is unknown to many people, but it will save it and keep all the data from where you've edited. And then, in turn, through Adobe Bridge, you can open this PDF file in Illustrator. I happen to have Illustrator, so I'm going to right-click on this file I just downloaded. First, let me get info just for evidential reasons. You can see on this file right here, where from, and it has the URL, whitehouse.gov, and last opened today, 6:51. Created today, 6:51 p.m. I'm in Eastern Standard Time right now. It's 6:53 currently. I'm in Georgia. Now, if I right-click and hit Open with Adobe Illustrator, this is the software that they use to create this fake birth certificate. Allow it to initialize and warm up. Here it is, Adobe Illustrator. This is the birth certificate, and here is the layers palette. Now, if you didn't know, in Illustrator, if you want to add something, if you want to edit, maybe draw on top of something, what you do is click this button to create a new layer, and then you can draw on top of things. And you can see I just drew lines, and it's on a new layer, and you wouldn't be able to tell if I just saved this as an image of it, whether it was part of the original or not, but here you can see it's on a new layer. If you open it in Illustrator and you can turn on and off this layer, you can toggle the visibility and see that it was drawn, that it was added in later on. Let me delete this layer and go back to layer 1. This is the original from whitehouse.gov. If you open this up, arrow means expand. It'll expand a layer to a group. You expand that again. Here's all the layers. Now, allegedly this birth certificate was scanned onto a computer. If you know anything about scanners and scanning into Adobe Illustrator, it keeps it on one layer. It doesn't, there's no such thing as technology for a scanner that'll separate parts of the images to different layers. So, if they scanned this, which they say they did, it would all be on one layer. However, here there are multiple layers, as you can see, and even inside these there's more. I'm just going to show you, this is the original one right here. The bottom layer is the first layer they started out with, and I'll toggle the visibility of that so you can see the stuff that was original. Everything else has been added on, and all the layers are above. I'll show you. This layer, for instance, contains a whole bunch of fake stuff. You can really see it. One interesting thing, let me zoom in so you can see. I'll enhance this. If you draw something, such as a signature, in ink, you can see all these pixels. You can see where it's different colors. That's because ink on paper, it's not one solid color. It creates different colors, and when you scan it, the scanner obviously detects the different colors. Things like this D right here for the signature, that is done in pen. But as you can clearly see beside it, this is all one solid color. This is added on the computer. This isn't even penmanship. This was drawn on a computer. This is for signature of parent. And there's Ann, D, and the rest is added on the computer. Now, let me show you some of the layers. Here we have August 8th, 1961. If I toggle this layer, I believe it's this one. Yes, you can see that the only real thing in this image is the 1, the 9, and the 1. Everything else is added in, the August, the 8th, and you can also see the original date on top of this, date accepted by RG General, obviously went over, so they also had to fake the date A, so they could add the August, covering up whatever other date may have been there. You can see where it says type of occupation outside home during pregnancy, it says none. However, if we toggle on and off the layer that this is on, I believe it's this one, yes, you'll see that the N, the O, and the N were added. Perhaps it said wife, they left the E and added an N-O-N. Bottom line is, and I do this for a living, Illustrator, if you scan something on, it's not going to separate them into layers, and you can easily see this has been added on the computer, especially when you zoom in and enhance it. You can see the parts that were done in pen, such as the signature here, up until the D, and everything else was added on the computer. You can see the solid ink. There's no change in the color of pixels, whereas normal ink would change between different shades of black and gray. This is one solid green color. When you're zoomed out, it appears black. So the only real part of the signature is the and D. Everything else, including the Obama, is faked, and it's obviously faked. Even the parentheses around this up here. You can see this parenthesis over here is real, going over the parent. You can see the changes in the pixels, but the one on this side is faked. And whatever they had here, I'll turn it on and off, went on top of the S in signature. So if they wanted to put this fake parenthesis here, they had to also get rid of what was already there, which overlapped the S, so they also had to redraw the S on top of that. You can see clearly, just from zooming in, even if you don't have Illustrator, just zooming in on your computer, printing it out, looking at it, you can see all the stuff that's faked. There's different colors. They didn't even match the colors right. The August 8th, 1961, you can clearly see a change in color. The 1 and the 9 are different colors than the 6. It's all fake, but the really interesting part is somewhere out there is a real birth certificate. But this is clearly a fake. There's no doubt about it. And it's pretty poorly done, too. So whoever faked this was either the most foolish editor ever and mistakenly allowed access to the layers, or they were a pure genius and they were trying to expose Obama, and, well, here it is. I mean, anyone can go download this and check it for themselves. Everything checks out. It's clearly a fake.